what we did see was FEMA moving the goalposts. The Federal Emergency Management Administration redesigned and goalpost what is considered flood zone. So a lot of people whose land had been there for generations all of a sudden found themselves in flood zones, and getting permits to rebuild was impossible. They were offered, should we say, pre-storm pricing, and if they didn't take it, then it was, I'm sorry, too bad, so sad. You're going to get a pittance if you can't rebuild because you're unable to get permitting. The other thing they did to greatly reduce the efforts of people to rebuild and stay was thousands, I think about 8,000 homeowners had some sort of a small bridge going across a creek, a river, what have you, some sort of body of water. And the requirements to rebuild those driveway bridges that could support an emergency vehicle should they need it went from being a cost of maybe 50 or 60,000 to, hundreds of thousands of dollars, something that was completely unaffordable for these people. So there was multiple layers in how they really discouraged people from staying where they were and rebuilding, because again, they want you out, whether it's for lithium or it's just for whatever reason. They really want to push people into the cities. You didn't see that problem in downtown Charlotte or in downtown Asheville, excuse me. You just, that didn't exist. But in the more rural areas, absolutely, they were punished for staying.
And finally, how has the recovery gone?
Well, they finally got Lake Lure opened, and that was an incredible effort. They've gotten highways reconnected, but the amount of refuse and floating debris on top of Lake Lure was incredible. And they, presumably underneath that were bodies that had not been recovered. I have not heard any more information on the bodies that may or may not have been recovered from Lake Lure, but they did finally get that vacation spot reopened. And I'm sure for the people up there, that's a big sigh of relief, because those are mostly second homeowners up there that have beautiful homes that found their property destroyed. And of course, a big piece of their lifestyle was put on hold. So for that, I'm grateful for those folks. But still, you've heard stories about the fact that Chimney Rock and other small towns like that made it very difficult and unappealing to have anybody from the outside come in there. And the devastation that those towns underwent was absolutely catastrophic, absolutely catastrophic. Their landscape is forever changed. This is, in my humble estimation, Clayton, this is a big deal because our government has been funding investments in reopening Kings Mountain. $90 million they put in there in a while. The Inflation Reduction Act basically created financial incentives, while the Defense Production Act secured the supply. So basically, they turned lithium into the cornerstone of the United States energy, AI, and a national defense strategy. And the DoD and the Defense Production Act, all working hand in hand with billions of dollars invested long before even this storm actually happened. It's pretty impressive.